Welcome back. The previous videos have covered the theory regarding verbal short-term memory and language assessment features of the TULSA. In the next 3 videos, we will discuss verbal short-term memory treatment for aphasia. In this first section, we will review the theory behind verbal short-term memory treatment with examples of generalization from the literature. The next video will cover how treatment is actually done with patients, and the third video will discuss how verbal short-term memory treatment can result in functional improvement. There have been some paradigm shifts over time as we learn more about aphasia. Initially, it was thought of as a loss of words. Then it was described as a loss of access to words. Now we think of aphasia as an impairment of the cognitive processes that support access to words. Therefore, if we treat the underlying processes of language, such as verbal short-term memory, we can potentially improve receptive and expressive language skills. Another paradigm shift has been in understanding the relationship between verbal short-term memory and language. Traditionally, these were seen as two separate, independent processes. Now, many view them as two components of a single, overarching process. Why treat verbal short-term memory deficits? How will it improve communication skills in people with aphasia? Verbal short-term memory is a foundational aspect of language that is involved in word retrieval as well as auditory comprehension. And verbal short-term memory deficits are nearly always present in people with aphasia. Treatment focus can be seen on a continuum. Treatment with a narrow focus targets specific tasks such as naming grandchildren or reading a prescription label. Treatment with a more general focus targets the skill level, such as naming objects or reading words, or it can focus very broadly and target the process level. Next, we will review whether short-term memory treatment can generalize. If treatment focuses on a core language process, then it can potentially generalize to other skills and tasks. For example, treating verbal short-term memory can theoretically generalize to skills like naming and reading, as well as tasks like naming grandchildren and reading a prescription label. Generalization can occur at different levels and are described as transfer effects. For example, near transfer occurs when an improvement in repeating words results in an improvement in repeating sentences. A far transfer generalization would be when an improvement in the ability to repeat words leads to an improvement in discourse. Overall, the closer the task is to the target behavior, the better the transfer. We'll now go over some examples in the literature of treatments that resulted in generalization to other tasks. For this single case study, treatment was a sentence repetition task, and results showed sentence length increased on a picture description task. In this single case study, treatment was for word and non-word repetition using a response delay, and improvement was seen in a picture naming task after treatment. In this study completed in our lab, we developed a verbal short-term memory treatment involving word repetition with response delays. Some of the participants showed improvement on discourse measures as determined by percent of communicative information units, an example of a far transfer. This treatment did seem to show better results for those who have a too fast decay rate. We have included a list of references for those who are interested in reading more about the studies we presented here. For this video, we discussed the theory behind verbal short-term memory treatment and reviewed generalization to other tasks. We also went over some examples of treatment from the literature. Our next video will review how verbal short-term memory therapy can be done with your patients.